Welcome to the Dubai Autodrome and 2013-2014 UAE National Race Day Series. This season, we're back again with all the action from the NGK Racing Series and the UAE Sportbike Championships. The touring cars have already had their first outing at the Yas Marina circuit 2 weeks ago, and many of last season's contenders were back out on track and getting to grips with their cars after the long summer break. Back again in Class 1 is Kostas Papantonis in the Seat Supercopa. He comes into round 2 at the Autodrome circuit at the head of the touring car pack. Meanwhile, last year's Renault Clio Cup runner-up Alex Anivas is back again and already has his sights set on dominating the podium. But the competition is going to be tough, with the likes of Rupesh Chanaki, Jonathan Mullen, and new boy Simon Dennis, all determined to take the fight to the reigning champ. So, on to round 2 of the NGK touring cars, and following the morning qualifying session, it was really no surprise to see the Dragon Racing McLaren MP4C of Leon Price on pole position for race 1. Behind him, Kostas Papantonis lined up at the head of the championship grid in the flying Gulf Petrochem Seat. This season, he has Brian McKinley in the Vauxhall Astra to contend with. But on the race day, it was the Class 5 KTM crossbow of Shannon Ward who was giving Kostas the real head-to-head race. But as the laps tick away, it was Papantonis who eventually managed to pull away from Ward to cross the line some 14 seconds ahead to take the class victory. Last year's Renault Clio Cup runner-up was pushing hard behind Chanaki. But he was also being hounded by Abdullah Al-Hamadi in the number 57 car, who eventually got the pass. The two were wheel-to-wheel for several laps until Al-Hamadi had to close the door, Anivas eventually crossing the line behind the class newcomer. Ahead of this pair, and Rupesh Chanaki managed to pull out a 5-second gap by the time the checkered flag dropped. On to race 2, and the powerful GT class McLaren of Leon Price once again sped into the distance and easily took the overall win. But the real action was happening further down the field. In the early laps, the Seat of Papantonis was again being hounded by Ward's crossbow, while Brian McKinley in the Astra could only watch on from further down the track. But the Gulf Petrochem Seat had the legs to pull away again from the KTM racer, giving Papantonis his second Class 1 win of the day.
Everything went well, everything worked well. We have an underpowered car to meet the class requirements, so I didn't really enjoy the power, but yeah, I really enjoyed the driving.
Further down the field, the Class 2 cars were also putting on a show. While Rupesh Chanaki found clear air and cruised home for the class win, it wasn't such a good result for Abdulhamid Al-Awadi, who retired on lap 2 with a blown engine. Another driver whose day was dogged by bad luck was Jonathan Mullen. Having got his Civic out on track for race 2, a blowout midway through the race saw him back in the pits for a replacement, ultimately seeing him finish at the back of the Class 2 field. Ahead of the Irishman now, and Alex Anivas spent several laps trying to catch Simon Dennis in the grey Renault Clio. The two fought tooth and nail, occasionally taking the unconventional racing line. But right at the line, it was Anivas who just squeezed past Dennis for his second Clio Cup class win of the day.
Simon, he is a good racer, very clean, so it was nice. It was nice. I really enjoyed the battle. But now we move on forward and we're trying to see and prepare for the next race.
So, a quick look at the UAE NGK Racing Series standings after 4 races, and Kostas Papantonis is already establishing a comfortable lead. But behind him, in Class 2 is shaping up to be a close battle with Rupesh Chanaki and Alex Anivas just 6 points apart. we now move to the UAE Sportbike Championship, one of the most hotly contested series in the UAE race calendar. Returning again this season is last year's champion Mahmoud Tanir on the Triumph Daytona. He'll be hoping to dominate again this season, but the task will be that much more difficult with the return to 600cc racing by Abdulaziz bin Laden and Indian Gautam Malvaganan. On to race one, and qualifying in pole position was Saudi Falcons rider Abdulaziz bin Laden, with Alan Boyder being the only 1000cc bike on the front row, qualifying just ahead of third on the grid, Erikas Savikas. As the lights went out, it was bin Laden who held on to his pole advantage and led into the first turn, but he was soon to be hounded by Gautam Malvaganan on his Yamaha R6. Unfortunately, the Indian rider's 600cc bike was outpowered by Boyder on his 1000cc Kawasaki on the straight, allowing the Scotsman to regain second place overall. Behind that group, Erikas Savikas was on for a great finish until he crashed out on lap 11. This opened the door for Irishman Joe Oxley on his number 15 Ducati. Elsewhere, last season's champion Mahmoud Tanir on the number 10 Triumph dropped his bike early in the race, putting him out of contention. Meanwhile, the lead rookie Michael Collins put in a stunning ride to finish 7th overall.
I had a good start with Damon on the Ducati. Managed to get past in the tight section and hold the gap on him, and from there just try to be consistent, and worked out well.
Ahead of him, Joe Oxley secured his first podium finish of the season in third place in the 600cc race, while the best finish for Malvaganan was second behind Abdulaziz bin Laden, who took top honors. Race 2 was a similar story. In the rookie class, Michael Collins once again showed great early form, battling with more experienced riders and managing to take the rookie class win by a comfortable margin. Up ahead, Mahmoud Tanir began to find his confidence again after his fall in race 1, but he still finished just off the podium in 4th place in class. Ahead of him, Irishman Joe Oxley, who took the checkered flag in 3rd place for the second time on the day. Also showing he'll be a force to be reckoned with this season was Gautam Malvaganan, who once again came in at 2nd place ahead of the fastest 1000cc finisher, Alan Boyder.
Once I get inside the track, I just focus on my riding, and I just want to improve every race weekend and every track days I do. So I just concentrate on myself. I don't look back to anyone.
But the main man of the day, winning both race 1 and 2, was experienced Saudi racer Abdulaziz bin Laden.
I mean, it's hard work because obviously you've got the twisty bits in the back and less straight, so less recovery. But I think it's more biker friendly, and I sort of get along with that track more than any other configuration. So it was fun.
So after round 1 of the UAE Sportbike Championship, the rookie class rider taking an early lead is Michael Collins, ahead of Indian rival Daryl Pace. With Abdulaziz bin Laden not riding in the championship, in the veteran riders class, they're just 10 points separating Joe Oxley in 2nd and Gautam Malvaganan in 1st. At the next UAE National Race Day on November 22nd, we'll have action once again from the NGK Racing Series and the UAE Sportbikes. And we'll also have highlights from the Middle East Radical Championship and the FG 1000 single-seaters. So we'll see you then.